Going live, Yep, you're live.
Hey guys, welcome to our Friday live stream. So we already got lots of questions in there. Obviously, we see that Steve joined members only videos, so welcome, Steve. And the first question I saw, this was probably something from yesterday we missed, but he says, this is from Keithan. He says, "Hi Corey, what's your take on the 26 tourists being killed in India?" I thought it was 29, I could be mistaken. That's what you basically got there is a bunch of low IQ inbred morons that have become hypnotized by the jihadi mind virus, which is very abundantly preached. They're preaching the Ikhwan, the Muslim Brotherhood version of Islam, where it basically says they're going to conquer the world and have a global caliphate. And unfortunately, the madrasas and the mosques all over Pakistan are preaching that crap. And so unfortunately, you're going to have people that are going to buy into that. If you're ultimate authority, because a lot of these people, especially in Pakistan, can't read or write, they're going to believe whatever the imam tells them. And if they're self-hating, self-loathing, suicidal losers, and the guy says, "Hey, you get 72 fine virgins. Their pussies are always wet. Their boobs never sag. You'll have rivers of wine, and you'll be hanging out with the Prophet Muhammad for all eternity, living like, what was it, Grand Theft Auto, basically." And unfortunately, it's what we have to deal with. It's an ideological problem that's got to be, in other words, you got to delegitimize and destroy that ideology. But when countries like Pakistan allow that stuff to be preached openly like that, it's never going to stop. And at some point, there's going to have to be some kind of reformation, because the Muslim Brotherhood is banned in Saudi Arabia, it's banned in the United Arab Emirates, it's banned in Egypt, it's banned in Jordan, pretty much all over the Middle East. The Arabs don't allow it. Qatar is another story. They're still the biggest supporters of it, and it's going to have to be dealt with. And until it's dealt with, we're just going to have to learn to live with it. And that's why I'm thankful in the United States we have the right to self-defense. And so if one of those losers shows up in our neighborhood and thinks he's going to spray a bunch of innocent civilians, what's interesting is they had a big study that just came out in the last few weeks that shows that, like, mass shootings are overwhelmingly ended by people that have their concealed carry license and not police. Because by the time the police show up 10, 15 minutes later, it's over. And so if you have somebody that's concealed carry, they typically train way more than the police do, and they're able to take these guys out. And, you know, the Islamists, the guys that have adopted that ideology, you're not going to reason them out of their beliefs. You either put them in a cage or you put them in the ground. But it's a binary choice. And until that ideology is not being taught like it is, we're going to have to deal with this, unfortunately.
Mysterious Insights asked, he's in a relationship. I doubt she's chatting with other men. Should I check her phone or should I allow her to check mine?
She's in a relationship? Is that what he
I
means?
think he
Or
means
he's in a relationship?
he's in a relationship.
I doubt she's chatting with him. And should I check her phone or should I allow her to check mine? Well, if she wants to check your phone, then she's got to give you hers as well. So, I mean, has she given you any reason to doubt her? Are her stories not adding up? Does she tell you something and then 2 weeks later the story changes? If your spidey sense is tingling and telling you something's off, then, a good telltale sign with cell phones is a woman that's hiding something always has her phone face down with the screen hit, or she gets phone calls and she leaves the room, things of that nature. So you have to play it by ear. iFocus says coworker kissed turned me. What? Has a boyfriend. 1 month of no contact. She stayed last for drinks with me. I know she likes me. Yeah, dude, stop trying to mow somebody else's lawn. Have some fucking integrity. That's a good way to get a boot in the ass or a bullet. It's like you should not be going after other guys' chicks. That's low character behavior.
You reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow.
Mr. Ace asks, how do you treat women all the same?
You just treat them all the same. Pretty simple. You don't treat them any different because what happens is when a guy really likes a girl versus a girl he doesn't really give a shit about one way or another, the girl he doesn't really care that much about, he tends to do most things right. But the girl he really wants and he really likes, he changes. He becomes too nice, he's extra compliant, he's extra accommodating, and when she tests his strength, he's soft, he's squishy, she's able to push him around. He changes his opinions to match hers, those kinds of things. They tend to pedestalize her, they tend to over pursue, and so you really have to kind of treat the ones you really like just like the ones you're not super into. You should have a cautious approach when it comes to dating women. In other words, you're vetting them. Just because she looks hot on the outside doesn't mean that she's a good person on the inside.
Intuition Point. Hello, Corey. Greetings from the land down under. Been with my girlfriend for 2 years. We don't live together yet. How can I be sure she's really in love with me and it is not with me because she really wants kids or because of security?
You want to know how I know you're a cherry picker? Because you asked me that question. There is a chapter in the book called It's All in the Numbers. And there are things that women do based upon where their interest is. If they're in love, there are certain things that they do. If their interest is 90% above, there are things that they do that they won't do when their interest is 80% and 70% and vice versa. So you got to read the book 10 to 15 times. There's no shortcuts to success. If you're trying to cherry pick, you're going to probably end up in a phone session with me someday because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So you got to take this seriously. You got to take your life seriously. You got to take your success seriously and stop half-assing it and looking for shortcuts to success because there are none. You must spend the time with the book. And if you don't, you deserve what you get.
Mari A. Corey, you say that it's not your job to fix someone if their parents mess them up. But what if it's your niece or nephew who is still a minor? Should you try to fix them if their parents messed up?
Well, if it's family, you should be trying to influence them as best you can, being like a trusted friend and an advisor. But anybody that's had any parenting experience or worked with kids or mentored kids or coached kids or been a part-time dad, when kids get to be like 12 and older, you really got to kind of. One of my teachers said many years ago, he says, from the time a child is born until they're about 6, you treat him like a king or a queen. In other words, would you be disrespectful or treat them harshly? Of course not. But from the time they're 6 to 12, you treat them like a prince or a princess. And then from 12 on, you treat them like a friend because if you're judgmental and you come down hard on them, they're not going to feel like they can be honest and open with you because you're going to judge them. Because at the end of the day, you can advise them, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. It's just like the thing with the stove. Don't touch that pot of hot boiling water. Don't grab the handle because you're going to get burned. And if a kid doesn't want to listen to you, they're probably going to get burned. Don't touch the stove when it's hot. They'll probably do it anyways. And so, you can love somebody that you care about, but at the end of the day, when they fall down or they make a mistake and say, I love you, but I told you so, but you pick them back up, dust them off, and you advise them the best that you can based upon your own experience and wisdom that you've gained in life, and the rest is up to them.
Mr. Ace asks, what are red flags that you would vet for?
Well, biggest thing is honesty. Is she honest? Does she tell the truth? Do her stories constantly change? Does she show up when she says she's going to show up? Is she perpetually late? If her car's a mess and always dirty, typically the box is dirty and she's lazy and she's undisciplined and she neglects herself. And a woman who neglects herself, eventually she's going to neglect you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What if a guy lies to you about something? Like, he told me he doesn't smoke, and then I found out that he does.
Like weed?
Like the vape, what you do,
Oh.
that thingy. Which I personally don't like. I wouldn't date someone who does that, which is important to me. Like, I wouldn't entertain that. And he was like, no, I don't do that. And then I caught him on someone's story
doing a
it.
vape. So he point blank told you he doesn't vape.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm not into that. And then I find out that he did.
Have you met him yet, or is this one of the guys you're
Yes,
talking to?
I met
How many times? Yeah, how many times you been out with him?
twice.
Twice. Well, love cannot exist where there is no trust, and you have, because I know you, you tend to be a little too trusting, and you tend to put up with shit like that, and you try to change guys, and down the road, they are who they are,
Yeah.
and you got to see reality as it is. You tend to see it as better than it is,
Mm-hmm.
and so if you've been out on 2 dates and he's already being a liar about things like that, well, that's a little lie. Well, what else is he lying about?
Right.
So if you're that new into that guy and he's already lying about shit like that, that's character's destiny.
Right.
So, if it was me,
I go.
deep six, he gets dropped from the practice squad. I mean, the NFL, guys that do those things, or they don't follow the rules, or they're not in bed by a certain time, or they're irresponsible and undisciplined, that's not good for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't put up with it. If you got, guys that are constantly getting arrested and having problems at home, beating their girlfriends, beating their wives, doing drugs, whatever it happens to be, and violating the team policy, they get dropped from the practice squad. And so, he was on probation, and so he lied to you. And so if he's already lying to you and you barely know the guy, then at this point he'd be out.
A little white lie can become something.
Yeah, that's a
huge.
little thing to lie about. So if he lies about the little things, he lies about the big things.
Right.
And so that's just a way of life. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to fix that. That's on his parents. So if it was me,
Bye-bye.
yeah, bye-bye. Because you don't have time to fucking waste. You wasted enough time with a guy the last several years that you were trying to fix, and you were trying to help him be the kind of man that you saw his potential, but at the end of the day, he didn't want to do it. Yeah. So it's not your job to be their mommy. Yeah, if you want a high character dude, when you see shit like that, deep six, on to the next. You just say, hey, sorry, our values are not aligned. I want somebody that's honest.
Right.
Love cannot exist where there is no trust.
Sean asks how to go about when a girlfriend says I'm being controlling when I express being uncomfortable with them having male friends, especially one-on-one. Am I being gaslit? LOL.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to have a discussion about values. So you've committed to be exclusive with her, and it's fine that she has guy friends, but going out one-on-one with guy friends, whether it's their boss or the guy they knew from high school or whatever, going and having drinks or going to the club or going to dinner, and you're not there, you're not invited. If she values loyalty, monogamy, exclusivity, that's going to be common sense, because she's not going to want to do anything that causes you to doubt her honesty. And if she just says you're controlling, it's like, no, it's called respect. If you want to act like you're a free agent and go hang out with other single men one-on-one, they're not there because they want to be your pal or they want to discuss yoga routines. They're there because they want to fuck you. And if you want to hang out with guys one-on-one without your man there, then that tells me you are giving the green light to these other men to continue to try to fuck you. And so if that's how you want to live, that's fine, but I'm not going to be exclusive to you. We can be fuck buddies, we can be friends with benefits, we can be sex playmates, but I'm not going to be exclusive to a woman that thinks it's okay to do that. That's just disrespectful. If I'm in a relationship with you and my parents are out having dinner, I don't want to get a fucking phone call at 9 o'clock at night going, hey, your girlfriend's here with some other guy and it kind of looks like they're on a date. Are you guys still together? What's going on? I don't want to have to explain that to my parents or my best friend or my neighbors or couples that we've double dated with. So if you want to act like you're a free agent, then you're going to be a free agent. You're not going to be my girlfriend. You can be one of the girls I'm hooking up with, but I'm not going to be exclusive to you, because all that tells me is you're advertising to men in general that, hey, go ahead and try to get in my pants even though I have a boyfriend. So if she doesn't agree with that, it's like, how would she like it if you were going to dinner with the hot secretary that's trying to fuck you and get you to cheat and taking you out for drinks and taking you out for dinner? Your girlfriend's not going to like that. And that's just common sense. It's common respect. If she doesn't see it that way, if she still is adamant you're controlling, then she just doesn't have the value system. Then you got to throw her back to the streets.
Paul Lynch. Question to the girls. How has learning Corey's work and teachings in 3% Man affected your relationships with the men you date?
I mean, it helps with picking them.
You think you can tell who a 3% man is? And who isn't?
Well, I mean, nowadays it's hard to find. So,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of overly masculine dudes that have their life together out there.
no. I wouldn't say Jack's like a full.
He seems like he's got it
3%er,
together ever
but
since you guys
he's-
met. He's different than anybody else I've ever
Yeah,
seen you
no.
with or
He's,
known you
I wouldn't say
dated.
he's full 3%, but he's pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm.
He's the man. He makes the decisions. Even if Jade doesn't like it, she goes along with it. Because he wears the pants and she respects him.
Carolyn?
Caroline?
I'm still learning. But I think I've gotten way better now with guys.
Mr. Ace asks, how to subtly ask if she was loyal to her previous boyfriends.
How to subtly ask, you
Yeah.
mean? Well, it's just when you're sitting there talking and those things are going to come up. It's like, hey, have you ever been cheated on, or have you ever cheated on anybody? What about your parents? Your parents still together? Are you really close with your dad? Are you close with your mom? Your parents have a good relationship? Those are the kinds of things you want to know about, because if you're on a date with a girl and every single one of her boyfriends she's ever dated has always cheated on her, then she's one of those girls that dates the same kind of guy over and over, and she's a bad judge of character. She puts up with things. And more than likely, when you dig deeper, those girls are also doing the cheating. Because like attracts like. People that like the same things tend to like each other. Liars and cheaters that tend to attract other liars and cheaters.
What's statement analysis?
Huh?
What's statement analysis?
Statement analysis?
Because someone commented, statement analysis is the most useful tool for exposing lies and manipulation.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you're going to have to expound on that a little bit better.
Lorenzo Salazar, she went cold and I asked her out. She said she'll let me know. She never did. Next week at dance class, she was more fun, warm, open, and smiley. Should I ask her out one last time? Definite date next time?
What? Say that again? She turned him down the first time?
She went cold and I asked her out. She said she'll let me know. She never did.
And how long ago it had been?
Next week at dance class, she was more fun, so he was asking if he should ask her out one last time.
Well, if she says I'll let you know, and then you see her the next week at dance, and she seems really fun and flirty, I would have just said, "Well, hey, would you figure out in your schedule? I want to take you out, or we should get together for a drink sometime, or we should get together for dinner, or we should get together and go shoot some pool, or we should get together and throw some darts, or we should get together and throw axes, or we should get together and do a picnic by the lake, or whatever it happens to be." Because if she's coming over being nice and friendly, then say, "Well, what's your schedule like? What'd you figure out?" As soon as she comes over, "Hey, you, what'd you figure out in your schedule? We need to get together and have that drink, or we need to get together and go to dinner at that place we were talking about, whatever it happens to be." And if she goes, "Oh, I don't know, I'm unsure of my schedule still, I'll have to let you," it's like, "Hey, no problem, figure it out and get back to me." And then say, I'll talk to you later, and then go about your business. And then don't ever bring it up again for any reason, because now you've asked twice. Even if she comes over next time and she's really fun and flirty and friendly, just never bring it up. Just treat her, how would you treat her if you were tired of fucking her? You be nice, you be polite, but you're not going to spend too much time talking to her or hanging around with her, because you don't want to give her the impression that you are still interested.
Brand 5, Coach, I've seen a lot of advice that men should never move in with a woman and instead have your own space alone so you're not always with her 24/7. Time away from each other is important. Agree? Question mark.
No, I've always lived with my girlfriends. So usually that's an amateur. It's never live with a woman that's saying stupid shit like that. Just like the black pill and the red pill guys.
Isaiah Threats, Coach, most guys that I meet either have girlfriends or are dating multiple girls, but whenever I try and meet girls, they are either taken or not interested. It makes the process demotivating.
Well, that's life. It's a numbers game, and you're going to have a really small percentage of women that are going to convert and that you really click with and that you really want to be with. So that's part of the game. How often do you meet a new best friend? It's a very rare occurrence. How often do you meet a girl that knocks your socks off and she feels the same way and you really click emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically? It almost never happens. So just because you got rejected a couple of times or 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times, as a man, that should never fucking deter you. You just got to keep moving forward because it's process of elimination. You got to get through the no's in order to get to the yeses, and all you need is one good yes. And you're going to die eventually. So you can always give up. That's the easy thing to do. That's what the black pill guys do. They create a story that social media has ruined modern women, and that's the reason they can't get laid because then they don't have to do anything to fix themselves. And at the end of the day, if you have looks or you have money or you have charm, that gets you in the door. But if you act like a bitch, women are going to treat you like a fucking bitch. You can be the best looking dude in the world. And if you act like a bitch, women are going to walk all over you. They're going to take advantage of you and they're not going to respect you. And everything's laid out in the book. If you act masculine and attractive and you have your life together and you're happy and you're social and you're outgoing and you can carry a conversation, you know what you want, you know why you want it, and you're making it happen, women will be attracted to that. If you're miserable and you hate your life and you're angry and you're bitter and you're pissed off and you're socially awkward and you're not able to carry a conversation, you have a hard time making eye contact with people in general or women in general, women can sniff that. They know when a guy's confident and when a guy's a weak bitch. So if you act like a weak bitch and you feel like a weak bitch, well, you need to work on yourself to get to the point where you're happy and you're loving your life and you're proud of yourself and you're proud of your life. Because if you're proud of your life and you're proud of yourself and you're excited about your life, you can get a girl excited about it. But if you don't like yourself, you don't like your life, how are you going to get a woman excited about it? So you got to fix yourself first. You got to become what you want to attract.
Deuce Grego. Hello, Corey. Why do you think that in many couples, intimacy drops so much after they have kids? Sometimes right after, and sometimes this drop is forever.
Yeah, the women don't want to have sex with the men because they don't feel safe. That's the bottom line. What you typically see is that the woman will have kids and the man doesn't make them feel safe. She doesn't feel very beautiful. So she starts to let herself go. She butches the hair. She stops wearing makeup. She becomes very masculine. She wears the same kind of clothes. Usually what the guy does, he stops going to the gym. He gets fat. He gets unattractive. And they're just not disciplined. And what I see in long-term relationships is always the same two things that guys do that ruin their relationships. And that's number one is they stop dating and courting their girl, and then they don't make her feel heard and understood. And if you do one or both of those things, it's just a matter of time before your girl checks out. So it requires being disciplined, and most people are undisciplined and they're lazy. I mean, 74% of all Americans are either overweight or they're obese. That's 74% of the people have just let themselves go and they don't fucking care. They have no will to live. They're not even trying. They're phoning it in.
Alex Garcia, what books would you recommend for structuring a business or other books in relationships? I'm in the construction industry.
On my website, under the products tab, there is a list of all the different books and courses, juicers, blenders, all kinds of stuff like that that I recommend. So you can go check that out on understandingrelationships.com when you get there. Just click the products tab.
Jungly Jew. How to grow attraction and maintain it while in long distance relationship.
Didn't we? I think we answered this question yesterday.
Sean, is it inappropriate hanging out with your girlfriend's friend one-on-one? The friend is unattractive but really cool, even though the girlfriend said they were fine with it.
Well, if she wants you to hang out with her, it's like, why would you want to hang out with your girlfriend? I assume it's a woman?
Yeah.
Her female friend?
Yes.
Why would you want to hang out with your girlfriend's female friend one-on-one instead of your girlfriend? It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Don't you have other friends to hang out with?
Yeah. Don't you have any dude friends? That's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe on some level he kind of wants to bang her friend.
He says she's unattractive, but like,
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
but really cool.
He wants to smash. I don't buy that bullshit at all.
Arciter, how vulnerable should you be with your wife? Should you share all your concerns with her?
Nope. If it's not, I talk about this in the book, if it's not going to make you look more masculine and more attractive and like you got your shit together, don't come to your woman with all your problems and your fears and your doubts. You're worried that your business is going to go under, or that you're going to get fired from your job, or that you're broke, or that you're afraid, or that you're scared. Women are not set up to deal with that. And, the culture pushes that stupidity that men need to talk about their feelings. It's like, go talk about that shit with your guy friends that will keep their mouths shut and not repeat any of what you tell them, or your therapist. Don't turn your girlfriend or your wife into your mommy or your therapist unless you want to completely dry her up and cause her to lose respect. Because if you're freaked out about something, you're going to freak her out about it. And if she's freaked out, she's going to feel unsafe. And if she feels unsafe, the legs are going to close because she's going to feel like you're a bitch of a man and you can't handle it. So it's just a bad way to go. I've seen guys in 30-year marriages, they go through a tough time, they have a problem with their business, or they got a health challenge that comes up when they've always been healthy and fit and in shape, and they think, hey, we've been together 30 years, I can just lean on my wife and cry the blues and cry in her arms and feel bad and tell her all about my worries and my fears and doubts, and all they end up doing is drying their wives up. And in some cases they move out or they want space. Women are not set up to deal with it. Even if she's asking you to do it, you can tell her things after the fact when you've got the solution and you've implemented it. But when you're worried or you're fearful, don't dump it on your girl, because then you're basically asking her to be your mommy and your therapist, and they're not going to react too well to that. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and do it and see what happens. You'll end up in a phone session with me.
Ryan asks, how can I stay completely aligned with my life's mission when financial pressure and uncertainty rise, yet still remain emotionally present for the people I care about?
Just got to keep moving forward, man. Life's going to pass. So, yeah, every day you get up, you can either choose to take action and be courageous and brave, or you can shrink and be cowardly and do nothing. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. Taking action breeds confidence and courage. And when you're fearful and you're worried about what may or may not happen in the future, that means that you're sitting around contemplating. And it's like when you look at why people get depressed, it's because they constantly ruminate over their problems and what's not working in their life, instead of being focused on what they need to do to move their lives forward. Because as I wrote about mastering yourself, life's going to pass and it's not all sunshine and roses. And most of the time, your plans and your efforts often don't look like they're going to work out or ever work out. But if you believe in what you're doing and you're passionate about it and you're constantly learning, you're constantly refining your approach, you're constantly measuring what works, constantly measuring what doesn't work, and you're adapting your approach and constantly trying new permutations, eventually you get from where you are to where you want to be. Great things take time. Great things take at least a decade or more. If you're emotionally hijacked and full of fear and doubt and you're worried, something that will really help you is a consciousness exercise on the homepage of my YouTube channel. If you just scroll to the bottom, there's stage 1 through 12 with Dr. Deanna and Gracie. I suggest 3 days a week. You do stage 1 through 12 in front of your big screen TV, and that will help you feel a lot better in your physical body.
Chris Jackson, how to know relationship is dead if intimacy was dead for months. Is it my fault I didn't open her up, or was she cheating?
Well, I'm not psychic. That doesn't really give me much to go off of. But if you're here, you should be reading the book. Because if you read the book, then you're going to figure out what you've been doing and saying that's unattractive. So you at least can control that controllable, which is your behavior and how you show up. But asking a question like that tells me you don't understand women and you don't understand what's going on, and that's why you got to read the book. You got to get up to speed. Trying to cherry pick stuff in videos or a live stream is just, it's not going to work. You might get a little attainable success, but you're going to have a hell of a time trying to sustain it.
Brian Heinzman says he just got his copy of Mastering Yourself. How many times should I read it? 15, thinking at least.
Yeah, whatever it takes to learn it. Because there's wisdom that I've learned over many decades of my life of living and experiencing and fucking up that is spread throughout the book. And so I definitely suggest that you should highlight the things that jump out at you. And each time you're going to go through it, there'll be another little nugget of wisdom you'll find in a paragraph that makes sense. That because the goal is by putting that stuff down is from you to learn from my mistakes and to gather the wisdom without having to go through all those decades of trial and error like I did to figure this stuff out.
Chris Jackson again. How to approach girls at a nightclub if you're flying solo. I never knew indicators of interest. He has approach anxiety.
Well, what you really have, it's not approach anxiety, is that you just haven't practiced making small talk with strangers. And so there's a video I did many years ago, how to improve your social skills, the process of improving your social skills. You should watch that video. I think it's like 12 minutes long, and go out and do it. You need to get in the habit of being curious about other people and asking them questions and get good at that, because that's all it really is just learning to ask questions, the kind of questions people would enjoy answering. It's just something simple. Hey, what are you girls up to tonight? If you're by yourself and you see a group of girls, hey, where are you guys headed tonight? What are you girls up to tonight? Ask the kind of questions that are appropriate for the venue. But if you have approach anxiety, what you really have is you haven't practiced small talk enough with strangers. So maybe get a job waiting tables, maybe get a job tending bar where you're forced to enter, or some kind of customer service job where you have to interact with a lot of people, because that's what you really need to do. You need to get in the habit of striking up conversations wherever you are, whether it's in the grocery store or in a clothing store or at work or at a wine and food festival or a trade show or a friend's barbecue. It's just being curious about other people. We all love talking about ourselves, so ask people the kind of questions they would enjoy answering, and you got to practice it. Because when you practice it enough with anybody and everybody, wherever you go, when you see a bunch of cute girls, it's just the same process.
Joe Niati, my ex is dating someone and reaches out and said she loved and missed me and told me to give it time. She got back again with her ex and blocked me again. Is there a chance she will reach out again?
Flip a coin. It could go either way. If she reached out when she was single, make a date, hang out and have fun, hook up, follow what's in 7 principles to get an ex back. If she's with somebody else, well, she's not single and ready to mingle, so it's time to move on. Practice what's in the book, because the worst thing you can do is sit around and wait and ruminate over what was. I mean, because at the end of the day, she's with another guy, and she may or may not come back. Maybe she lives happily ever after with that dude. But you need to control the controllables, which is what you have control over, and that's your behavior. And so you should be reading the book, and you should be applying it so you can get better. You can get yourself some other choices, some other options. And if she does come back, she's going to find a more confident version of you who knows how to interact with women in a way that is attractive. But if you don't practice and she does come back, you're just going to fuck it up for the same reasons, because you haven't practiced. You haven't got any better.
Mysterious insights. How to be more masculine.
Read 3% Man and apply it. Go to the gym. Do guy things. Learn how to shoot. Become good with pistol and rifle. Do jujitsu. Do martial arts training. Learn to be dangerous but kind. Anything that is a masculine activity. Growing your mind. Growing your reserve of knowledge. Reading books. There's a whole list of great books to read that can grow your reserve of knowledge on my website under the products tab. So if you want to be more masculine, you got to exhibit more of the masculine behaviors that are in the book. So the book's not going to help you if you just read it. You got to read it and you got to apply it. And then you got to observe other people as well as they interact, so you can pick up on what they're doing.
JB, Corey, is it possible to be a 2% man?
Next question. That's a dumb question.
Silly. Kobe Spurgeon. Coach, I've been blessed to go out with a lot of beautiful women, but a lot of them live in the city and I love the suburb life. Does the city life ever wear off?
Does city life ever wear off?
I guess maybe nightlife, partying.
I don't know what he means by that. Maybe he could drop another comment. Does the city life ever wear off? I don't know what that means.
Mario Lucero, Corey, how do I deal with a woman who wants to get serious quicker than I'd like? I'd be open to a relationship with her due to her being a great girl. I'm just not ready yet.
Say that again.
How do I deal with a woman who wants to get serious quicker than I'd like? I'd be open to a relationship with her due to her being a great girl. I'm just not ready yet.
Well, just be brutally honest. Just tell her if she's trying to lock you down or wants you to be exclusive. Say, I'm moving in that direction, but I'm just not there yet. You gotta be patient with me. You gotta give me time. I'm not in the same place as you. That's part of living and speaking your truth instead of just doing it because you're and going along with it when you don't really want to. Because then you're gonna resent it and you're gonna resent her. So if you do that, if you're honest and you tell her you're not there, it's also possible you lose her. But normally what happens is she becomes even more interested because you're now even more of a challenge. And she becomes more emotionally bonded to you and likes you even more.
Ryan, what are some subtle early signs that a woman lacks the emotional maturity to sustain a high quality relationship, even if she seems deeply affectionate at first?
Well, you got to spend enough time with her to know. Is she consistent? Does she do the things that she says she's going to do? What's her family life like? What is her background? Does she treat you well? Does she fucking blow her top? Does she get pissed off at you and ignore you for 2 or 3 days and be passive aggressive like that? If there's a problem, are you able to sit down and work it out and talk it out in a calm manner? Is she a hothead? Is she easygoing, easy to get along with? Is she nice to you? Those are important things.
3X Killa. She canceled 2 dates but is showing interest at work, flipping her hair, and said she'll make it up to me. Do I call to set a date?
Nope. When a woman cancels a date without offering a reschedule, you never ever bring it up again as long as you live. You're going to treat her just like you're tired of fucking her and you're over it. You'll be nice, you'll be respectful because you guys work together, but you're never going to bring up getting together again because you wouldn't want to give her the idea that you're still interested. So she's got to bring it up. And if she brings it up, I would just invite her over to make dinner at your place. And if she doesn't want to do that, then just say, yeah, I'm going to pass. If you want to come over and make dinner, we can do that. But you canceled 2 dates on me in a row at the last minute or whatever it happened to be. So it's, my time's valuable. And I'm willing to give you a chance, but that's what I'm open to. I'm open to dinner at my place and we can make it together. If you don't want to do that, then obviously not the right guy for you.
Sounds like she's playing the game.
She's got low interest. It's like she seems like it's like a ball of yarn. She enjoys the attention and she wants to dangle the carrot. And that's why you shouldn't bite anymore. Because she canceled 2 dates. I mean, Doc Love's opinion on that was if a woman cancels a date and doesn't mention a reschedule just at the last minute and her response is just real flat and monotone, he was like 1 chance per girl per lifetime. She fucks it up, she's done forever. He wouldn't even give her a second chance.
Luke C., what specifically do you define as important individual interests to create polarity and where people need to align in values? Would the aligned values be morality, spirituality, and life goals?
I've kind of already answered that with several questions already. Somebody was asking if Chunky's back behind the camera. Maybe he could speak
actually,
up.
Guy else has a good question
You
that he's
have
been
a
asking. Is
fan.
what would Corey tell his 19-year-old self in college to become more successful with girls and compete with other girls at his prime age? Like, what would some advice you tell your younger self, and especially 19?
Well, back then I was too nice. I was too nice to the girls I really liked. And I needed to be a little bit more brutally honest, be willing to speak up for myself. I mean, I wish I would have had a book like mine. It would have made a whole world of difference. But I had to learn everything the hard way. So if I could go back in time, or I had a time machine, I'd give myself a copy of the book. But then again, I would never write the book if that happened.
Swagonomics. What will you do if a girl didn't pay after 6 dates? She only paid for the coffee so far. Vibes are there. We made out already. But her reason is she always gets treated by other guys.
He's been on 5 dates and all he
Six
did was
dates.
make 6 dates.
Yeah, it's not looking great.
Dates is crazy.
Yeah, he sounds like he's kind of an amateur, to be honest with you.
3 dates max.
What, he's worried about her paying for the bill.
Yeah, it sounds like he's probably consuming some red pill retard content. I mean, how much does the girl make? I mean, if you're in, I've always been like this since I was younger. It's like if you're inviting people to do things with you, then you should pay. If you invite a girl out, you should pay. I mean, asking a girl out and then expect her to go 50-50 or go Dutch on a date, that's a friendship thing. So if you can't afford to take a girl out on a date then you shouldn't date. You should focus on making more money and growing your revenue and reducing your expenses. If you're worried about spending $10 or $20 extra on a girl for drinks or whatever you're doing, or $50 or $100, you got other problems that you should probably focus on first.
Kobe Spriggan updated, and he says that he does not want to live in downtown Dallas in a skyscraper and pay rent his whole life. He wants to move to the suburbs, build a house, build equity, and raise a family.
Well, meeting women is a side effect of your social life. So if you're more of a country bumpkin, well, you should be hanging out with other people that have the same values and same goals as you. That's like somebody that doesn't like to go to bars or nightclubs, but they're single and they want to meet somebody, so they go to a bar and a nightclub and they don't really want to be there. And if they don't really want to be there, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be smiling. And if they're not happy and they're not smiling, women aren't going to want to be around them. So go do things that you love and that you enjoy, and enables you to meet other like-minded people. So if you're not a city dweller, you're not a city folk person, then embrace where you're at. But you've got to have some kind of a social life. If you live in a small town or you live in the mountains and you got 5 neighbors within 10 miles, it's going to be hard for you to meet somebody. So you have to become a social person. Maybe there's a hunting club. Maybe there's, maybe they got a lake and they got a lake club or something like that. Or the golf courses, they have a country club. Or, I mean, you got to lose yourself in your hobbies and your interests and things that you love doing for fun. That's how you meet new friends. That's how you meet new people. That's how you meet new girls. You can't live out in the middle of nowhere and think that Mrs. Right is just going to show up and kick your door down and say, hey, here I am. You got to participate in your own rescue. So create a great life and lifestyle that you're proud of and that you're excited about. If you love living out in the country and you got 4-wheelers and you love to shoot guns and stuff like that, you love to fish, you love to hunt, you should be doing those things with other like-minded people. You'll get introduced to other guys that you become friends with. Those guys will know girls. Those guys will have girlfriends. They'll have wives that have hot single friends that are into the same kinds of things. And just in living your life, you'll bump into them and you'll run into them. So if you hate the city, and you only want to be out in the country, then you need to do more kind of country stuff. Maybe you like going to rodeos and things like that, or people riding the bulls and stuff like that.
He said he's not, what did he say? I'm not a country bumpkin. I live in the hottest county in the country.
The hottest county?
Very popular.
In Texas.
Yeah, well, I kind of already
Yeah.
answered that.
Yeah.
Brandon asks, Coach, you mentioned jujitsu a bunch. Have you ever tried it or any other martial arts?
Yes.
So just jujitsu or no?
A bunch of different martial arts. I learned to be dangerous, fast, and lethal. When you grow up as a little guy like I was growing up and you get picked on and especially going to Pompano Middle, where it's like I feared for my life walking down the hallways. When you're getting picked on by bigger kids, you need to learn to strike fast and quick. You're going to do everything you can to avoid a fight. And, just because you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu doesn't mean somebody ain't going to fucking stab you in the heart I mean, it's like one shot and you're fucking dead. Doesn't matter if you spent 20 years rolling around in the mats. So
Girivar. Hi, Corey. You say that a girl will do 80% of the talking, but she's usually quiet. How can I get her to reach out more?
reach out more. Well, he's talking about talking, but reaching out more, it sounds like her calling. If she's very shy and she doesn't have much to say, wouldn't you want to be with somebody that is more conversational? And if she's not reaching out at all, she either has low interest or she's structured. So you're looking for a woman that actually makes the effort, not trying to fix a chick that's messed up or trying to get a shy girl that's got no life and no personality to become what you want. It's like you got to see reality as it is. You got to see people as they are. And if she's boring to listen to, it's like, why the fuck are you on a date with her? I mean, the whole goal is to find a woman of your dreams, date the kind of women you want, not settle for a chick that bores you to death and has nothing going on in life and has nothing to say about nothing. And plus, you want a girl that's natural. If you're following what's in the book, she's going to make the effort. And if she never calls, she never reaches out, and you've been dating a couple months, well, you're dating somebody that's structured. And, you know, since day one, I started teaching this stuff. It's like, don't date structured women. But if you want to prove me different, then go ahead and try to date a structured woman. It's like, you know, whacking yourself over the head with a hammer. It's usually not going to end well.
It personally works for me when the guy is already outgoing himself. It helps me open up. Like when I see people are talking or like they're really good with their social skills, like talking to the waitress or, you know, anything like that, and I can see them opening up, it makes me want to open up. Because I'm a shy person. I'm pretty quiet.
Yeah, you're just quiet in general. You don't really have a lot to say very often.
Yeah. I have like no thoughts sometimes. And then when that one thought comes, I'm just like, oh. But
sometimes you're a little talkative. Like Jade's always talking. Caroline, you know, talks, but most of the time she's got the headphones on and she's editing and she's very cerebral and in her head. And it's, you know, better in her case to date a dude that's very outgoing and very talkative and interesting and likes to talk. You know, Dr. Mike's brother, Sean, he's like that. He's the life of the party, always has been. And his wife, she's outgoing as well, but she's also a really good listener. In other words, she's a good audience for him, and they work well together because he's always talking, he's always telling stories, he's always joking around. If he sees somebody that is, whether we're out at a bar or a restaurant and there's a crowd of people and they're not really saying much, they don't look like they're having a good time, he'll start asking them questions and kind of pull them into our group and get them to participate and get them to open up. And that's what's a lot of fun about him and why he's, you know, he's like the best wingman ever. And I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll get him on the podcast when he's down.
It's like Erica. Erica is very talkative.
Yeah, Erica never shuts up either. She's always talking.
Yeah.
Marvin Jeffrey Matthew. I started dating a girl who lives kind of far, so we only see each other during the weekend. She wants me to text her every day and be the initiator. What do I do?
Yeah, that's not gonna fly. You got to tell her that you want to be spontaneous. The good morning, good night texts and her demanding that you always make all of the effort, that's not gonna fly. You want things to be spontaneous. If you want to talk to her, you should be able to reach out to her because it's what you feel internally. You shouldn't be doing it because you feel obligated or she claims this is what she wants. 99% of the time, if you do exactly what she asked for and you do good morning, you do good night text, you always call, you always initiate, what's going to happen is her interest is going to drop. You know, as I say in the book, a guy should never reach out more than 20 to 30% of the time max. And most normal, healthy women will let you get away with 95 to 100% of them reaching out after you've been together for a while.
Edgar Soto, are good morning and good night texts relationship killers?
Yeah, that's a quick way to, even when she says she likes it and she wants it that way, when you do it, then what happens is scarcity creates value. And so if you're constantly doing that, it after a while, it's an obligation and it's not fun. You're just like a robot. It's just like what happens when you go to check your groceries out. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Oh, thank you for asking. And then it's bullshit conversation. So if you want your relationship to be fun, you want it to be spontaneous, you want to be able to see your girl's name pop up in your phone unexpectedly, whether it's a text or a phone call or a FaceTime call, you never know when she's going to reach out to you. And that's part of the fun about it. It's predictable, it's unpredictable. Predictable is boring. And if you want to dry your girlfriend or your wife up, start sending her good morning and good night texts and do all the pursuing. What'll happen is she'll start taking longer and longer to reply, and eventually she'll probably just ghost you.
Mason Howard. Hey, Master Wayne. When was the last time you questioned your purpose? Do you want to do coaching for the rest of your life? Thank you for all that you do. You are the best.
Well, I like what Steve Jobs said. He said every day he gets up, or he used to get up when he was still alive, and he would look himself in the mirror and he would say, if today was going to be my last day on earth, what I want to do, what I'm about to do today. And when the answer to that question was no too many days in a row, he knew he needed to change something. And so I'm always questioning, is this what I want to do? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Like the other day we were, what was it, Wednesday? We were getting ready. We're supposed to film some more 3% study group, and we got, I don't know, 50 episodes maybe. I don't even know how many we got of that. But quite frankly, I wasn't really super excited about filming those episodes. And that's when I said to Caroline, I was like, hey, why don't we just go live and do a live stream? Let's do something different. Let's, ask people to ask questions about the book or whatever. Because these are the questions that you guys really want to know, instead of me trying to be psychic and guess what you guys want. That's why I answer questions in the emails. And that's why we're doing these live streams, because it's a lot more fun to interact with you guys and answer questions that you have right now. And that, again, the Wednesday's live stream, the reason we did that is just because that was one of those days I was like, man, I'm not really excited about sitting down for 2 hours and filming 2 episodes of this. I want to have fun. Mm-hmm. And it's more fun to do a live stream. And so that's why we did the live stream. And so that's the kind of thing you always need to be doing. You always need to be questioning. It doesn't mean you need to completely change your life, but it's like some days I get up because I'm used to getting up and running for 2 miles, and then I film for a couple hours. Some days I'll wake up and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is get out of bed and go for a run and then film for an hour or two. Some days I just fucking lay there for an extra hour, or I get up and instead of drinking a green juice, I'll make a tea. I'll clean up all the shit and the piss from the puppies that they left for me the night before, and then we'll hang out, and then maybe in the afternoon I'll film, or maybe in the afternoon I'll run, or maybe late that night I'll work out. And so you got to be spontaneous, because when your life just becomes the same dull, boring routine every day, you kind of feel like you're kind of trapped. And success is being able to spend your life in your own way, and I have that ability. So if my life starts to become like it's too monotonous, or I'm doing the same shit over and over and it's getting a little boring, I just change it up. Or some days I get up and I don't do anything in the morning. I decide I'm not going to film that day, and I'll film the next day or 2 days from that. And so you gotta be a little flexible that way.
Mysterious insights. How to make people trust you.
I think you should probably put her on the pee pad. Put her on the pee pad.
I just did. She peed.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You little shit. Come here. Lila. What was the question again?
How to make people trust you.
Well, be a trustworthy person. Be honest. Be reliable. Be faithful. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. Be a man of high character. And associate with people of high character. Like what Caroline was asking earlier, one of the guys in her practice squad is fucking lying to her already. So when you see that, that's not her job to fix that. That's on his parents. His parents fucked him up and taught him to be a fucking ratchet and a liar. And if he's lying about something like vaping, it's like he's lying about other things.
Like, how do you expect the relationship to go so far if that's like not in?
Yeah, you can't believe what's coming out of the guy's mouth. And so when you have friends that are like that are lying to you about stupid little things, or you first meet somebody and a lot of stuff they told you is based on a lie, then you got to deep six them. You got to be able to move on. But people make a lot of mistakes. Like Caroline just tends to hang around and make excuses for the guys and put up with it, thinking she's going to fix them or she's going to change them or she's going to mother them or love them the right way and they're going to become Mr. Right. And all it, it just frustrates you because you're trying to change somebody that really is not looking to be changed. And then after a while, they start to resent it. They get irritated that because, she's a high achiever, and if she's dating a guy that's not as much of a high achiever as her, she's going to try to encourage him and coach him to reach his full potential because she's a loving person and wants to see him do well. But at the end of the day, if he's not going to participate in his own rescue, it's like you got to leave him behind.
Like, I would rather him be honest and be like, yeah, honestly, I do smoke. And maybe the more we get to know each other, he'll maybe cut it out, but not blatantly lie and pretend he's someone that he's not.
Yep.
Probably didn't think you were going to see that. Or saw it and be like, oh, she likes me. She won't say anything. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no. Doesn't work like that.
What's up, cute? Oh, thank you.
Tiago Marquez. Coach, from your experience, if a guy is doing everything right, do long-term girlfriends still back off from time to time? Let's say not texting for 2 days if all conversation topics are closed.
Yeah, it happens. That's just the ebb and flow of a relationship. Familiarity breeds contempt. You spend a lot of time together, maybe don't talk to her for a day or two. That does happen. Maybe she's pissed off at you. Maybe she spent a lot of time and is starting to take you for granted. Maybe she's busy doing other things. It shouldn't really be an issue. But when a girl's in love with you and you've been together for a while, she's typically not gonna like disappear for 2 or 3 days and not hear from her. Unless she's going on a trip or something like that and she's with family. I don't remember any long-term girlfriend that I've been serious with that disappears for 2 or 3 days when we've been exclusive, we've been together for a while. It's just when a woman loves you, they want all your fucking time and attention. It's like non-stop. They constantly need it. Just like these little puppies. They're just happy to be with you, right? And to poop and piss wherever the fuck they want to, which is really annoying, but they're so cute and sweet and lovable, you put up with it. Right? Right, Lila?
Life Unveiled sent you a thanks for changing his life. He had lost his business, wife, investments, but 2 years later, he read 3% Man 39 times, Mastering Yourself 11 times, and now he's on his way to being a 3% man.
Sweet. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing.
3%er. She asked, what are we? Are we friends with benefits? I said, I'm open to anything. She kept saying she doesn't know, that's why she's asking me, and that guys just want to have sex. Can I reach out to her to let her know I care? I do care and want something more. I fear I've been coming across as a bit cold to her.
Well, the quality of your relationship is going to be in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you ask each other. And so that was a missed opportunity. So if she says, are we just friends with benefits? Then you should say, well, what do you mean? What are you looking for? If she says, well, I don't know. That's why I was asking you. It was like, well, you brought it up. So obviously you're thinking something. So if you're concerned about what are we, what in a perfect world, in your ideal world, what would we be? What would you love for us to be? Get her to tell you specifically and explicitly, and keep asking until you get the straight answer out of her. Are you saying you want to be exclusive? Are you saying you want to be boyfriend, girlfriend? What is it why are you bringing it up? Whoever's asking the questions is the one running the conversation.
It's JB says, hey Corey, are these live streams a form of therapy for you?
Therapy for me? Well, it's just adding value to you guys because you have a lot of questions and there's no way we can answer all of them. And it's just another way to add content. And plus it's more fun to do this and interact with you guys than just to sit here and do a podcast, which is fun. But it's, I think everybody, Caroline, like I said, she was really like Wednesday when I was like, hey, let's go live and do a live stream. The look in her face was like, I'm not really in the mood. But as soon as I was like, let's just film for an hour. And she's like, okay. And after we got done, she's like, that was really fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so if everybody's having fun doing the live streams, obviously they're going to be better. And you guys are going to enjoy it more because obviously you guys are here. Lots of you are here, actually.
Rusty Mertz says, "Did your humor get lost in translation with your Brazilian girlfriend? I have one, and she rarely gets my jokes."
That is, she would. The problem was is that she took everything personally, and it's just because as beautiful as she was, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a woman that had the effect on men that she did. But she was incredibly insecure because she grew up without a father. He died of a drug overdose when she was 6. Her mother never remarried, never dated, never fucked anybody after that. And so she grew up without a father figure. And on top of that, she had an older brother that she had a really difficult relationship with. And so I would crack jokes because I'm always cracking jokes. And, when the girls that I wrote about in my book, it's, when I would crack a joke and bust on them, they bust right back. But with her, if I tease her, she took it personally, like I was insulting her. And no matter me trying to explain it or whatever, she just didn't like it. And after a while, it wears on you because I wasn't used to that. I've always been used to dating very bubbly, very happy women that are just fun to be around and don't take shit personally. So because I had had such great relationships before, that's why I didn't stick around, because I knew how great it could be. And I knew it wasn't going to be great with her, and she wasn't willing to learn or to grow or to meet me halfway or anything. So I moved on. I didn't try to fix her.
Ryan Heinzman, hey coach, what was your relationship with your dad like? I never had a father figure growing up, so I'm very thankful for your work and find you back on YouTube in 2018.
Yeah, I didn't like my dad when I was a kid growing up. I did everything I could to avoid him because usually he was pissed off, and especially at night, he was always drinking. And if he was drinking and I irritated him or my brother irritated him or he was just irritated in general, I'd get smacked. And so I just tried to avoid him. And, as I got old enough to drive, I was always out doing things. I didn't want to be around him, but it was in my late 20s, early 30s, we kind of, because I was older and I was an adult and I was successful, my dad and I had a lot of heart-to-hearts, and he's one of my best friends now. I love my dad. I just spent last weekend with him and the rest of my family for Easter. So, but it wasn't like that when we were younger. And my dad, he's grown a lot too and become a better man. Right?
This is very interesting one. Cody Wayne. Wife came home drunk from friend's house. I took her phone and a co-worker gave her his number. I confronted her and she lied, saying she never added him on Snapchat. I told her to get out of the house.
Love cannot exist where there is no trust. And if your supposed girlfriend is giving out her phone number, whether she's sober or drunk, to other men and basically saying, hey, go ahead and try to get in my pants, well, she clearly doesn't value being loyal.
Where's the mug?
Huh?
Where's the mug?
Where's the mug? Oh, yeah, it's in the...
She's for the streets.
Uh-huh.
Say
She
it.
belongs to the streets. Right? She belongs to the streets, doesn't she, baby? That hoe ain't loyal, is she?
Guy
No.
Willis, how to stop porn addiction and increase confidence. As a hormonal uni kid, I think this is an issue for a lot of men, and if you're introverted.
Yeah, well, it's an escape. You're bitching out on life, so it's called being disciplined. It's a conscious choice. You can either choose to be disciplined and avoid it and stay away from it, or you can make excuses and say you're addicted and it's out of your control, and then just keep consuming it. So if you're a hormonal uni kid, what does that mean? He's in university?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude, if you're in college right now, if you're a guy in college, you're in the most target-rich environment that you're ever going to be in your entire life. You're never, ever again in your life going to be surrounded by as many single, hot, and horny women that are away from home for the first time without their parents' prying eyes. They're open to threesomes. They're open to anything and everything. They're open to experimentation. And you need to get the fuck out of your house, go to the gym, work out, take care of your body, and do anything and everything that's social. Maybe Chunky, you could kind of tell him the stuff that you got. He joined a fraternity.
Yeah.
Tell him what you did to help
Sounds
your
like
social
he's
life.
like a foreign country and stuff though, but definitely join like a social group. Hey, maybe like you like to play frisbee or like golf or something. Join like social groups. There's so many social groups at universities, wherever you like, and just don't stay in your dorm the whole time and just jacking off. You know, go out there and live life. Like
Yeah, that's
there's
basically
other
what he's
people.
doing. He's
Yeah.
watching porn and jerking off, and then so he's got no motivation to go out because he's always. You should give your
And you
sexual
should have so many
attention
college
to
things.
women.
Yeah.
Force yourself to get out, join a fraternity, go to parties, do social things.
Yeah, go to the sports game, go to the football games,
Football
go to the
games,
sport
basketball.
games.
They
There's
have
always college nights
tailgates.
too.
They got
Yeah.
tailgates.
Erica would say pickleball.
Yeah, go to pickleball.
Pickleball. Yeah, maybe someday you see Erica on the pickleball court, doing a flying swan dive, face first into the court because she's a little over eager, and then she tears her other rotator cuff or whatever. But yeah, you got to get out and socialize with other people because if you're just sitting in your room jerking off, you got no motivation to go out. Force yourself to not do those things. Just get outside your unit and go mingle. Go to the library. Go where people study and hang out. If there are a bunch of girls hanging out in between class, go hang out and sit next to them.
Or if you're like in a class or something, the big test is coming up. Start a study group with
Start
someone.
a study
Start
group.
a study group.
Ask some of the girls, like, hey, hey, you guys want to get together? Is there anybody got a study group going? I'm kind of struggling, and it'd be great if a bunch of us could get together and study for that test. And then don't hit on any of the girls. Just act like you're only interested in being their friend.
And then you can meet their friends.
Yes,
and...
then you can fuck their friends, but don't fuck them. And then they're going to wonder why you don't want to fuck them and you only want to fuck their friends. And then they're going to try hard to get you to fuck them. Especially if you're fucking their friends and their friends are going, oh my God, he was amazing. I came 5 times. He's so big. That's what you want. You got a good relationship. You got to, if you're known as the man that knows how to fucking lay the pipe in a sorority, it's like other sorority sisters going to want to come and fuck you. They're going to hear about you. If you're terrible in bed and you're a 2-pump chump, or you couldn't get it up, or you're a dickhead, then they're going to tell all those sorority sisters that, and then they're all going to avoid you. So, I mean, it's like, bro, you're literally at an all-you-can-eat pussy buffet. It's like, come on. Junkie had a hell of a time. You did that exchange class.
Yeah,
Tell him about that.
Do it. Definitely, I would definitely your last 2-3 years. Definitely do the going abroad thing. It is totally worth it. You basically get put in an apartment for like 2-3 months with other people. You're literally other college chicks and some cool guys too. Like
It
I met a
was
good friend.
some
Like,
beta male, and 4 girls?
yeah. And
So,
in a
Chunky-
foreign country where they don't speak the language, they need a guide. I would go out with them every night.
Yeah, it was
do everything.
Portugal, right?
It was Spain.
Spain. So he went to Spain, and the school set him up with 4 hot girls as his roommates, and the other guy was a beta male and had no game. So Chunky's the man of the house. He's fucking laying the pipe.
Oh, nice. Guy Willis, he says I'm going to Japan. Oh, Nihon Daisuki desu.
Exactly. That's what
Nice.
you want to do.
Yeah, it'll be good.
There's lots of opportunities like that. Where do you go at university? You go,
It's just on their website. It's everywhere. You just ask. It'll just be on the university website. You'll see the study. It's on every website. It's very
studying
easy to find.
abroad? What is
Yeah,
it?
it's just called studying abroad. They have a tab,
Yeah.
and you go to their office too. You just talk to them.
Yeah, because if
Super easy.
everybody speaks English and you go to Spain and none of them speak Spanish, then the girls are going to want to hang out with you
Yeah,
because
'cause they don't have
you're the
anyone
only
else
ones
to
that
language
speak
thing.
English, and then you're in the same unit.
Or to feel
It's-
safe at night too. If you go out in a
Yeah.
club, like it's dangerous sometimes. You don't know the area.
All Chunky had to do was hang back, and the girls came on to
Yeah.
him. It's
And then be like,
well,
hey, like they'll be like, hey, I'm going to do this today. You're welcome to you do your own thing, and they'll be like, oh, can I join you today now? Like, what do you know? And you also have a great you learn as a person. You grow so much seeing a whole new country. You learn how to adapt.
Super chat from Income Tools. Followed every principle in the book and had a great first date. She was 2 hours away, so I didn't have the logistics set, but went well anyways. Thank you.
congratulations, dude. That's a long way to travel.
2
hours.
I hope she's hot.
Medi, I'm not going to be able to say that properly. Bujati. My wife's in the military and all of a sudden is trying to push me away. I'm about to lose my fucking mind, coach. There's no way to fix this.
Well, if there's no way to fix it, you've already lost. You've already given up. So that's your story. If that's what you believe, then that's your reality, and that's how you're going to act.
Brian Bondi. What if a woman talks positive about her father but negative about her mom? The parents are married. What should I look for? Should I be cautious of this?
Well, are their parents loyal and faithful to each other? Do they have a good relationship? That's the most important thing. Is he the man of the house? Or is he a little soft and squishy? In other words, if he gets nagged a lot, does that mean that when he gets nagged enough, he just caves and gives in? You got to pay attention to those things. Because if she respects her father, she'll respect his authority. When he says, "This is what we're gonna do," she says, "Yes, Daddy," and goes along with that. She doesn't keep trying to change his mind for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So just watching how the parents interact. If she doesn't get along with her mom, like, what does that mean? How is it they don't get along? What is the reason they don't get along? You have to dig a little deeper. You got to ask quality questions.
Hypno. Most of your materials for the first stages of dating someone or meeting new people.
That's not true.
Any material you'd recommend for established relationships?
Read the book. It covers pickup, it covers dating, and it covers relationships. Somebody that says something like that has read things and seen things that make them feel uncomfortable, and they're looking to avoid doing them, so they just dismiss them.
You just got to apply it in a relationship.
You got to apply it. Most of my phone calls are with guys that are having problems in their long-term relationship, whether it's their marriage or their girlfriend, and they all do the same fucking two things. They stop dating and courting their girl, and they don't make her feel heard and understood. And those are things that come later. The 10 disciplines of love, which are in the back of the book, you got to understand that backwards and forwards. But you're not going to be applying the 10 disciplines in love when you're doing pickup or when you're just in the casual dating phase. Those are things that come later when you're in an established long-term relationship. If you're not interested in reading the book 10 to 15 times and really learning it and participating in your own rescue, you're probably wasting your time being here. Guys that cherry pick, or guys that just want to read a ton of books, it's like they're not really taking it seriously, and they're going to struggle. The best success stories are from guys that read the book 10 to 15, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. I was talking to a therapist the other night. He's read the book over 40 fucking times. He's incorporated everything he's learned into his practice, and he's getting great results with the clients that he's coaching, and he does a lot of work with couples as well, and they're getting phenomenal results when they listen to it. So I teach what works. If you want to dismiss it, you dismiss it at your own peril, and you deserve what you get.
Some guy cheated on his pregnant wife multiple times.
That's the guy I think I just read, Mehdi.
Mm-hmm.
That his wife's in the military, so he cheated on her and expects her not to want to leave, I guess.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, he brought that on himself, and he deserves what he gets.
He's getting roasted in the comments.
Yeah. It's like, don't come here as a low integrity guy and,
Try
cheat
to
on your
boost
girl
your
or your
ego or
wife and then
something.
basically try to say it's, all her fault. It's like, fuck off with that.
Mm-mm.
You're being a bitch.
Kyle Clark, hey coach, are women cops loyal?
Some of them, but they really have a high incidence of fuckery and fucking around, because think about it. If she's hot, she's mostly surrounded by high T, fit and shape cops. And, I've done countless phone sessions over the years, married cops, men and women fucking around. It's pretty common, just like it is at the hospitals. Married nurses cheating with the doctors, the married doctors are cheating with the nurses. Every hospital has a room where people that are screwing around go to fuck because they know they're not going to get disturbed.
Brand 5, Coach, you say familiarity breeds contempt. So isn't it possible that living together could be risky? You're spending too much time with each other?
If you've never lived with a woman, that's probably how you're going to think. I mean, I've always lived with my girlfriends in long-term relationships, and I think it's wonderful. I love it. It's nice to wake up next to somebody. It's nice to shower together. It's nice to go to lunch together, to dinner together, to do family things together. I mean, you're a true family. And all that tells me is that, he's just kind of maybe had casual hookups, friends with benefits, not a real deep, intimate relationship where you're just always there together. If you're being the man in the relationship, your girl is going to be stuck to you like white on rice. And it's going to get kind of annoying because women are annoying like that. They want your attention all the time when they're in love. And if you never experience that, then you got to learn the book and you got to apply it. Because until you experience that, it's really just a mental concept. Because to me, being with somebody and living together and always being together, it's like you're a family unit. You you just you're like you're one. You're one human, if you will. You do everything in sync, and it's beautiful. And everybody should try it. Everybody should experience it. So it's just too many of these fucking nihilistic red pill retards that have no experience trying to act like experts on the internet. And all they're doing is giving stories to guys that justify their continued mediocre behavior and blaming women for all their problems or their lack of success with them. If you're dating a girl, and it's like, because I know earlier one of those guys was saying he's only sees the girl maybe once or twice a week, and he makes her wait every couple of days. And you've been dating 6 months to a year. That's not a relationship. That's like a booty call, like a once or a twice a week booty call. That's nothing serious. That's not talking on the level that I talk about in my book.
Andrew Ung. Corey, what if my brother is dating a girl and she turns him against my mother and I? All because I don't like her. However, I have never berated her. I just don't talk to her.
Well, I mean, you're making it easy for her to say, "Oh, your brother's mean to me. He doesn't like me. He makes me feel uncomfortable." And you should be nice and friendly towards whoever your family brings home, because what you're really doing is you're causing problems. If she's not done anything for you to be upset, then you should be nice to her. You should just ask her questions.
Make her feel welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Make her feel welcome, because if you're not making her feel welcome, of course she's going to avoid you and the rest of the members of the family. That happens a lot of times. A guy will bring home a girl he really cares about, and for whatever reason, one or several members of the family think it's okay to be an ass to her. And as a man, if you're bringing your girl home and you let your family members or your friends attack her and you don't stand up for her, she's not going to feel safe with you. When she don't feel safe with you, her legs are going to close, because she doesn't trust your masculine core. She doesn't trust that you'll protect her, because you're not protecting her. And so you're going to have to intervene with family members that get abusive towards your girl and tell them to knock it the fuck off. And if they don't stop, then you'll just stop hanging out with them.
Tony Baloney, Coach, she loaned an ex-lover some money before we started dating. He was supposed to pay in March and hasn't, while making excuses. Any advice on how to proceed?
Well, it sounds like she's got an uncollectible debt. What are you going to do? Go beat the guy up? It's not your problem. That's her problem.
Andrew updated. He says, I just sense a lot of red flags in her. She was cheating on her husband with my brother.
Oh,
okay.
There you go.
Well, maybe your brother's a clueless rube. Because if she cheats on her husband with your brother, well, when her interest is low in your brother, she's going to cheat on him. Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Mm-hmm.
You can let your brother know how it feels, but if he really likes her, he'll probably keep dating her until she cheats on him. And then you just say, I love you, bro, but I told you, you didn't want to listen. Because it's usually the pain after they get screwed over that hopefully makes people change. Because people do more to avoid pain than they do to gain pleasure. And, your brother is engaging in low character behavior, so you need to call him out as well and say, look, dude, you're fucking mowing another guy's lawn. You're fucking some dude's wife. It's like, have some integrity. I'm really disappointed in you.
Kevin Thau, Coach, have you ever been cheated on?
Nope.
Never?
Nope.
Not that you know of?
I don't think I've ever been cheated on. It's possible, but like I said, when you're with somebody all the time, you know what they're doing, you know who they talk to, you know who they hang out with.
Arsitter asks, how to overcome the fear of girlfriend/wife cheating/insecurity. No signs of cheating whatsoever, just pure insecurity.
Well, you're going to have to get over it. That's a you problem. So don't make your significant other deal with your issues. If maybe you can go talk to a therapist or somebody that can help you with that. Because, I mean, as Ronald Reagan said, you got to trust but verify that the person's being loyal and faithful. And if everything appears to be that she's being loyal and faithful, if you start accusing her of being disloyal and unfaithful, well, you're basically throwing a grenade into your relationship and making things hard totally unnecessarily.
Archer. I think it's Archer. My girlfriend has been cheated on in her past. Can that be a problem for me?
Well, if it's just one guy out of 5 of her boyfriends, I mean, that happens. People make, it's like if you fast forward what Caroline was talking about earlier with the guy that's lying about the vaping. In the past, she probably would just ignore that, keep moving forward. And then maybe 6 months later, 8 months later, she, gets into a situation where she hears girls laughing in the background when she's on the phone with him. And he says, "Oh, there's nobody here." And then she finds out it's like the football player was doing shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's blatantly being disloyal because he was the QB in college at the all-you-can-eat pussy buffet, and he's a handsome, good-looking college quarterback. And so the cheerleaders and everybody constantly getting ass thrown at him. And he wasn't a loyal person. And so she made excuses for and tolerated that kind of behavior. And so, that happens. Sometimes people, because remember, we all make our decisions based on our emotions, and then we use logic and reason to justify that. And so it's only when you get burned enough, and then it's like little things like that. Again, if you've been on 2 dates and the guy's already lying about little things like that, he's going to lie about other things. Character's destiny.
Johnny asks, Corey, if I've met this girl 3 times, but she's been all over me during those times, am I supposed to make a move? And if yes, what exactly? Or let things fold unnaturally? We usually meet in groups only.
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, dude. You got no game. You need to read the book. You're absolutely an amateur. Going on group dates is a bad way to go. It's nice that she's all over you, but the goal is to get her phone and take her out on dates one-on-one so you can seduce her.
3%er. Can I bring up the "what are we" conversation that she initiated last time?
Nope. Let her bring it up again. She will. She really likes you. She'll bring it up again.
Yeah. Especially if she notices that you're not bringing it up.
Yeah.
Mr. Ace wants to know where to go to meet high quality girls.
You're going to meet women as a side effect of having a great life and a great social life. So go do things you love and enjoy. We talk about this every single live stream. So you got to get out of your house and lose yourself in your hobbies and your interests and the things that you love doing for fun. Most people meet significant others typically through work or their social circle. And if you're a hermit, like the college student that we were talking to a little earlier, who's basically sitting in his dorm room jerking off to porn all the time and not mingling with other people, you're not going to get a girlfriend sitting in your house jerking off to porn. So you got to go get out there and participate in humanity. Lose yourself in your hobbies and your interests. If you love golfing, join a country club. If you love boating, join a yacht club. If you love rock climbing, go to a rock climbing club. If you like yoga, go take yoga classes. Go do fun things. If you're a very social person, you can go to beer and wine festivals or wine and food festivals. There's trade shows. It's like if you're into guns, you can join a hunting club. Or it's like every year out in Las Vegas, they have SHOT Show, which is a really cool thing to go to. A lot of my friends are in the industry go to that. And if you're into guns and training, they have classes out there. They have new sights that are coming online. They have new pistols. They have new rifles. They have new suppressors. They have new body armor, different vest setups, belt setups, med kits, backpack carry, appendix carry, different holsters. It's, if you really love that kind of stuff, just go to a trade show like that by yourself. If you're into guns, go to SHOT Show. You'll probably meet other guys there you can become friends with, maybe go shoot in the gun range with. There'll be women there. It's just go lose yourself in your hobbies and interests and meeting other people, befriending men, and meeting women will become a side effect of that. You got to get out of your comfort zone.
Successful Joe. Hey, coach. When a woman says she's unsure about exclusivity but also asks where she stands, what is the best way for a man to handle that without over pursuing or losing frame?
You got to ask questions. What do you mean? Why is she bringing these things up? Because what I do see is a lot of guys, when women start hinting at that, they just make assumptions about what she means, and they don't really ask direct questions, and they try to laugh it off, and they don't really get to the root of the issue. So, what did she say specifically again, Jade, in the text?
That she's unsure about exclusivity. But
So if she's not sure of exclusivity, well, she's not ready to be exclusive. You're not getting a hell yeah, I'd love to be exclusive. So if she brings it up or hints at it, are you saying you want to be exclusive? And she goes, well, I'm not really sure. I was like, okay, well, when you get to the point where you are sure, we can bring it up and we'll talk about it then. Until then, we'll just have a good time and see where it goes. So that tells me he's probably focused on locking her down, and maybe he even brought it up. And then when she says she's not sure, it's like, when a woman says she's not sure about that, she's sure. She's sure she doesn't want to be exclusive at that moment. And so it just sounds like he probably brought it up or pushed for it before in it. And usually guys are doing it before they're ready.
Papa Dom, what do you think about the stock market right now? Are you doubling down when it comes to investing?
Well, the way I invest is I invest in companies and CEOs that I believe in. And as Warren Buffett said, if you wouldn't own the stock for 10 years, you shouldn't own it for 10 minutes. So I buy and hold. And as I accumulate money and make money every month and I have extra funds available, I buy stock. And typically the stuff I buy is when the stock has gone down. So I buy the dips. The only time I sell all the stock is, like, I'll give you an example. Like years ago, because of my background in retail, my family's background in retail, I really liked the new CEO that came in to run J.C. Penney, and I liked her turnaround plan, and she was executing it. But then all the lockdowns happened, and so people weren't allowed to go shop anymore, and that basically bankrupted the company. And I lost my ass on that particular stock. And as soon as the lockdowns happened and, the stores were being closed unjustifiably, tyrannically, I sold all my stock in JCPenney and I lost most of what I originally put into it. And then JCPenney ended up, it's good that I sold when I did, because if I stayed in, I would have lost even more money. And so those things are going to happen. But, if the company's stable and the premise as to why I invested in the first place is still sound, 20 years from now, I'm still going to own that stock. I'm not going to sell it. So that's how I handle it. I'm not a trader. I just buy and then forget about it. I check, typically every day I'll look to see what my stocks are doing, but I'm not a guy that's buying and selling stock at all. Unless something is kind of plateaued and I don't really see a lot of upside, I might sell it and then put it into another stock that does have more upside. But like I said, most of the time I'm just buy and hold.
Kevin Thou, do you believe in having mentors and people you look up to? And do you still have those people in your life today?
I've had them throughout my life. It's always good to learn from somebody who's further along or more of an expert at something that you're maybe a novice at. So it's essential. Because it can really it can shave years and decades off of your learning to learn from somebody else. It's like we were talking about yesterday in the live stream back in the day when I was back in 1999. I met John Morgan through Mike Metters, who I've had in the podcast before. He was my sales rep from Fox 35 in Orlando, and he introduced me to John Morgan. And we got to talking at this fundraiser we were at, and I said I really wanted to pick his brain about advertising because I had been doing it on TV for about a year at that point. And he says, call my assistant and she'll set up an appointment. And so I did on that Monday. She set up an appointment, and I thought, we're just going to sit there 45 minutes to an hour and I'll get a lot of great info. And he sat there with me almost 4 fucking hours, and he did like 99% of the talking, and I was just, taking notes and mental notes. And that, you know, he gave me millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of knowledge and wisdom and advertising. I'm extremely grateful for that. Even though he's a lifelong Democrat and he's a kingmaker in the Democratic Party, it's like I love John Morgan. He was good to me. He was good to my employees. And I used to refer, you know, when I lived in Orlando and when I would have people that had personal injury stuff, I always referred them to him, and they always took pretty good care of them. So I'm a big John Morgan fan. I'm not a fan of who he supports politically, but he was a good dude to me, and he didn't have to do that. He didn't need to spend, you know, 4 hours in his office with me.
Maddie A. Corey, how much success will a broke 3% man have in dating rich women with a lavish lifestyle? Will they choose him over a rich 97% man? Let's say he has mastered everything in your book.
Absolutely. If you act like a man and you're masculine and you got a purpose and a mission and something that you're trying to achieve. I talk to guys all the time. I had one just recently who was dating a woman who was a billionaire. She made it the old-fashioned way. She inherited it, but she was incredibly wealthy, and he was, you know, he was poor compared to her, even though he was a very successful dude. And most of the guys that she dated were extremely intimidated by her level of success, and he just treated her like anybody else, and she was fucking crazy about him.
You want to do Dentor's super chat from earlier?
Mentor. I worked out with a girl at the gym. We had a great time. When I ask her out, she says, I'll let you know because I have work and school. She comes up to me when I work out and engages in conversation.
Yeah, if she says, hey, I'll let you know, and then maybe a week or two later you see her at the gym and she comes up, I was like, hey, it's good to see you. You look amazing. It's like, so what's your schedule like so we can get together for that drink or that dinner or whatever it was that you talked about when you asked her out? Be direct, be decisive, get right to the point. If you haven't seen her since she told you she's going to get back to you and she comes up to you all enthusiastically, assume that the reason she's come over is her schedule's freed up and she's hoping that you're going to ask her out. Most of the time in those cases, even when you tell a girl to check her schedule and get back to you, she'll call you like a week or two later or a few days later and say, hey, how are you? What are you doing? I was thinking about you. They're typically, 99% of the time, they're not going to ask you out. If they're reaching out, or in this case, she's coming over to the gym after she said she was going to get back to you about her schedule, assume she's come over and her schedule's freed up, but it's your job as the man to be the leader and the appointment setter and make the appointment happen. So go right into it. Just like I said, as she comes over, invite her to do something. Ask her, you don't need to sit there and talk for 10 minutes and then get around to ask her out again. Assume the reason she came over is because she's excited when you ask to tell you about all the days she has available to spend time with you.
Edward Wada, thoughts on marriage. Girlfriend thinks it's the end goal, but I don't. She's still with me, but how do you get to go about it?
Be honest. Tell her if you don't want to get married, don't get married. If you're willing to get married, you just don't want to involve the state in it, and maybe you'll do a prenuptial or some kind of a agreement like that. Well, that's part of the negotiation process, what your legal structure is going to be. And so if it gets to that point and she says, that sounds good, then you're going to have to engage legal counsel that's licensed to practice law in your city, your state, your country. And they can create an agreement that will work. I'm not a fan of involving the state or the government in your relationship. The government is corrupt. I mean, in South Florida here, I see a lot of stories on the local DMV, like in Miami, and even the one in Broward, like people showing up at like 3 a.m, and they're still like number 30 in line, and people waiting all day trying to get their license. It's like, that's fucking ridiculous. That shouldn't be happening, but it is, because the people at the DMV, they get paid no matter what, and they don't fucking care. They don't care to speed things up. They don't care to do things right. They're a bureaucrat. And the only thing that matters to a bureaucrat is process. They don't give a fuck that you're standing out in the 110-degree heat or you getting rained on and there's 150 people in the parking lot. They don't fucking care. So just think of that as a microcosm of anytime you're going to involve the government in anything that you do, you're going to be dealing with a bunch of douchebags like that don't give a fuck. So if you can avoid it, avoid it. Because if you get married and involve the state, and then it later doesn't work out and you try to get a divorce, ask any of your friends that you know that have gone through a divorce how much fun it was.
Thank you, Kevin Thou, earlier for the super chat. He did his little samurai dog again.
Corey, Dews Grego. Corey, what do you think about a girlfriend liking another guy's picture? The pictures of the guy at an event from the same college she attends.
He's just a guy friend, or it's just some random dude she's liking his picture?
Some random dude.
I don't think that's a big deal. You're just liking sounds. I don't think.
Well, if she's fangirling the guy and constantly liking all of his stuff and following him and sending messages, or he's posting on her social media because he follows her as well, that looks like she's trying to get his attention.
No, I think it's just one post. He's just like.
If it's one post and he's, say it's a famous football player and she attended that school and she hearts his message, I don't think that's a big deal. What you're looking for is signs that she's fangirling and trying to get the attention of other men. In other words, she's behaving like a free agent, trying to get their attention. That's not a good sign. But if she just liked, one social media post, maybe it's the quarterback and his girlfriend or whatever. If she likes that, I don't think that's a big deal.
He said he brought it up to her and then she removed every guy from her Instagram, like every guy that she was following and following her.
Well, I guess that's
Erica said
no longer a problem.
Yeah.
Erica said she must have did something bad.
Maybe.
Sounds guilty.
It's possible.
Set it off, asked Coach. This no contact game, I'm doing it, but we have a son together and I keep it strictly about him. But how the F do I go no contact with her if I have to communicate over my son?
Just get all of your arrangements made ahead of time so you have no reason to reach out to her and she has no reason to reach out to you. Because what you're trying to do is create the conditions where you don't have to contact her and she doesn't have to contact you because everything's handled ahead of time. And therefore, if she starts reaching out, asking about innocuous things or, just things that really she doesn't need to be reaching out, maybe she's calling you to ask you for advice. That's what you're looking for. You're looking to see if she's coming up with reasons to engage with you and things that she just doesn't need to. In other words, she's making conversation and interaction happen with you. And usually that is an indication that her attraction is going back up and you should ask her out or invite her over to make dinner at your place to hang out and have fun and hook up. Is she fun? Is she playful when you're together? Tease her, be playful. Just treat her like all women, whether it's an old lady or your mother or your sister or the girl that you're dating. Love is playful and fun. And using humor and playfulness and occasionally treating her like a bratty little sister and teasing her and messing with her or telling her that, you're glad, she started working out and got in shape because she was starting to look like Grimace. Fun things like that. That shows that you don't take it too seriously. And anybody that's ever had a little sister or dated a girl that had a bunch of older brothers, they all got teased. And that's what fun is. Love is playful and fun. And so when you can tease girls around you, whether you're teasing your mother or your sister or your female coworkers or your female boss, not in an assaulting way, but in a playful way, it communicates confidence, it communicates masculinity, it communicates you don't really take yourself too seriously. You're creating lighthearted conditions where everybody can relax and have fun and have a good time.
Kareen, from my understanding, Doc Love teaches to put off sex as long as possible. What are some reasons why you disagree?
I honestly don't remember that. I don't remember him saying you should put off sex as long as possible. The only thing I remember about the dating dictionary, he just said, I don't discuss sex. That's Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Or was it Dr. Ruth? She's since passed away, but I think she was like in her fucking 90s. And so she was like a sex therapist. And in the 1980s, she had a television show. It was like Sex Talk with Dr. Ruth. And she's this little short, like 4'10", 4'5", this cute little old lady, looks like your grandmother. And so she had like a call-in show. People would call in and ask about sex problems that they were having with their girlfriend or their wife or their boyfriend or their husband or whatever. And she was very playful, and she had a strong like German accent. It was cute and it was endearing to listen to, but he never discussed anything about seduction or seducing a woman. And yeah, 96 years, Robert A says. And so I don't remember that, but I haven't been through his book. I couldn't tell you. Probably 20 years ago, last time I went through it. Maybe he updated or changed it, but what I saw, it looked like it was always the same version. It kind of looked like it was printed out of a typewriter and photocopied a bunch and then put into a book. But it was a lot of great material, and it was funny. He had a great sense of humor. He used like names like Clarice and Tom, because he usually used Tom as the man, and he had his Uncle Fast Eddie Love and all these other characters that he made up, as my Uncle Fast Eddie Love would say. So,
Keithan, hey Corey, share your best relationship advice to men, which is not in the book of yours.
well, really, whether it's in the book or not, the most important thing, the biggest problems that guys make in long-term relationships, and it's the biggest thing that women complain about, which is men are romantic at first and then they stop. Most average guys that don't know any better, and even people that have been following me for a long time, they get lazy and they get complacent and they stop dating and courting their girlfriend or their wife, and that ruins attraction, that ruins the intimacy, that ruins the closeness. And so they stop dating and courting her, and they don't make her feel heard and understood. And part of making her feel heard and understood is asking good, high quality questions, not asking a question and then not really understanding a response, and then laughing it off, and then changing the subject and sweeping it under the rug. It's truly deeply getting to know a woman once you're in a relationship with her. What her needs, her wants, her desires are, what her family is like, what her hopes are, her dreams are, her idiosyncrasies, the things that she loves doing for fun, her favorite meals, her favorite foods, things she loves doing most for fun, her closest friends. You're going to learn all that stuff. That's just part. We want to be in a love story, and most guys make them. Even guys been following me for a long time, 10 years, 15 years. It happens after many years together. You have kids, and you're like 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a few days or a few weeks or a few months or even in a year. It usually happens over many years. The guy just kind of goes back to sleep and stops dating and courting her. And it's not until she's leaving or wanting to check out or wanting space or moving out or going and staying with her mother that the guy finally wakes up, and then he goes back through the book and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe how far away I got from the book. So it happens slowly. So you got to be disciplined.
Tim Sweeney, Corey, I follow the book and my girl is all over me and always wanting to hang out, but I almost always have to initiate sex. How can I help this situation?
Well, that's nice that she spends a lot of time with you, but that tells me on some level you're more into her than she's into you. So having an understanding of the book, and especially the attraction table, the chapter, it's all in numbers. So you can tell, because there are things that a woman will do when her interest is 9 and above. And if she's not doing any of those things, then that it's a 9 and above, then you're missing the boat somewhere. There's something you're doing, something you're saying that's causing her to, in other words, you're more interested in sex and intimacy than she is. And if you're really applying the book properly, it's going to be the other way around. So somewhere along the way, you have missed the boat or you're falling down on something. It could be something as simple, because again, when a woman feels heard and understood, the legs open. And when she doesn't, the legs close. And when a woman really loves you and is into you, she's always going to be near you and touching you and bumping into you. And when women typically initiate sex, all they got to do is grab you between the legs or rub their hand on you or their knee against it. And that's their gentle, subtle way of saying, hey, why don't you bring Mr. Snuffleupagus out to play?
She says she's not the typical affectionate type, but sometimes she will be.
Yeah, that's because she's not always feeling it. So her attraction is not super high. It's when her attraction's real high, she initiates sex. When it drops, she doesn't, and then she gives you a logical sounding excuse that makes sense. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to tell her she needs to initiate sex more, you're asking her to do something she's not feeling like she's doing. So you got to figure out what it is that's causing her to not desire you like she should be. So maybe it's how you're carrying yourself. Maybe you're turning her into your mommy and your therapist. Maybe you're not dating and courting her properly. Maybe you've promised to do things for her and then you don't do them. When women feel safe, they want to have sex. When they don't feel safe, they're not interested in it as much or at all. So if the legs are closed, you need to open her up and figure out where things are going wrong.
Temptation. Corey, is it being too needy if I randomly follow this girl I've been seeing this past month on Instagram so we can link up? She's a friend's friend, so we haven't really met one-on-one yet, but she's showing interest.
I don't understand that.
How is that possible? Is that like psychically showing interest? So he hasn't met one-on-one, but he's assuming she likes him. So that's kind of vague. I don't really understand that. He's got to be a little bit more specific.
My travels. How do you meet and reattract your ex at a social event, like a wedding? Those are perfect.
Well, if you know your ex is going to be there, be talking to other girls. If you see your ex, smile and wave to her. You could even motion her over with your finger. Or you can just smile and wave and then go about your business. Let her come to you. Let her come over and talk to you. And when she comes over, it's like, hey, cutie, how you been? I missed you. I've been thinking about you. And see what happens. Is she playing with her hair? Is she touching her arm? If she likes you and she's hoping, because weddings are great, because weddings, love is in the air. You know, it's like I've done very well at weddings over the course of my life because there's always, everybody's there to celebrate somebody's relationship and everybody's like, oh, that's so beautiful. And bridesmaids, girls that are there that are part of the wedding party or part of the family. It's, you know, it's a great way to meet women because you're in an environment where you have a lot of like-minded people. People that like the same things tend to like each other. Like attracts like.
Okay, that movie, The Wedding Crashers, where their whole thing was that they would go to weddings, like make up stories and like,
Yeah. It was a funny movie, but
yeah,
you could see how you could kind of get away with that stuff. But it is a target-rich environment. But in this case, if she's an ex and more than likely she dumped him and broke it off, well, how would you treat her if you were tired of fucking her? If you saw her and you made eye contact, you'd smile and you'd wave, but you're not going to go talk to her because there's other cute girls there. So talk to the prettiest girls that you can find at the wedding, and who knows, maybe you'll get a tap on your shoulder and you turn around and it's your ex, and if she's still single, just kiss her on the lips and give her a hug. That's what I do when I see girlfriends, even ones I haven't seen in years. First thing I'm doing, if we're there to hang out together, it's like I'm kissing her on the lips like she's still my girl. It's like, hey, you look beautiful.
From Sportscast, Corey, did you watch the NFL draft last night?
No, I did not, because I was watching the Florida Panthers beat the fuck was it Maple Leafs, was it?
Oh, no, Tampa.
Tampa, I mean.
But Toronto.
Yeah, they have
played
same
too.
blue colors. I was thinking Maple
Yeah,
Leafs.
Toronto.
No,
They're going to play
Tampa.
Toronto next, though, probably.
But I wasn't a fan of that hit. What was it, Hagel on Barkov?
Hagel on Barkov. That was a tough one.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens Saturday. I assume Hagel's going to get lit the fuck
Oh,
up.
yeah. Him and Kachuk, I think, are just going to drop. As soon as the puck drops, center
Probably.
ice. Center ice.
It'll probably be like the
Nations.
Boston game last year
Yeah.
when he and Draisaitl went at it. When they
Pasternak,
just threw...
Pasternak, yeah.
Or Pasternak. I thought it was Draisaitl. Didn't they
No.
throw down too?
No, Draisaitl threw a dirty hit on Barkov in the finals because Draisaitl's on Edmonton.
Ah. Well, he got lit up at some point, didn't
Yeah,
he?
it's so did
They'll
Draisaitl.
get revenge on
Oh,
him,
they
and it'll be
will.
interesting to see the way Hagel went about it. Who knows? He may even get suspended a game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to meet today to
They're
talk about
meeting
that.
today. We'll probably know after the live stream. I have to check.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it seems like Barkov might be hurt though, but it seems like he's not injured. It's just maybe like a concussion. So we'll see. I don't know.
That was a shitty hit. And when players do that, that's when you know that mentally that team is already lost. In other words, they've already given up and they know we can't fucking beat these guys. We can't beat the Panthers. So they start trying to hurt them. And like I said, Hegel, he needs to get kicked in the dick, and I'm sure he will, because they're not going to tolerate that. Because everybody says Barkov is like the nicest of all the players.
Literally the nicest
he's not
player
usually
in the
the guy that's out throwing punches and
Yeah.
stuff like Bennett and some of the other guys.
He's won that award, literally being the nicest
Yeah.
gentleman.
And so when you're fucking a guy
gentleman
like that, he's going to get rocked.
Yeah.
Probably more than likely, you're right. Him and Kachuk will just
Yeah, they
throw
fought
down in the
Four
beginning, and
Nations.
everybody would just stand back and let them go at it.
That first Canada-USA game, they fought. They were the first people to fight when they did the 3 fights in 7 seconds.
That's awesome.
So it'll be and at the end of the bench, you had Marchand, Kachuk, Bennett all yelling, like, and then you have like the. I wish we could show the videos. Like Kachuk was like, "I want you, pointing at Hagel doing the stick when there's. So it's gonna be interesting.
Probably gonna happen. So there's a fight Saturday night, and maybe a hockey game will break out.
Yeah. That's funny.
He updated. He said, even though we haven't met one-on-one yet, I know that she's interested because of her body language and because of the things she's told other girls in the group in private about me.
Well, if that's the case, he should get the number. Ask one of these girls that know him. If this girl's, if you're talking to a group of girls that you know, and she's like, oh, so and so is really sweet on you. I was like, well, give me your number. I'll call her. I'll hit her up. I'll take her out. Is she a nice girl? Is she the kind of girl I can take home to mom? Or is she the kind of girl I got to hide from mom? You should say shit just like this. And then what happens is all those girlfriends start going, oh, she's a great girl. You should give her a chance. And so it goes from, why should I give you her number or information, to them trying to convince you why you should go out with their friend. And then just, get the number and say, yeah, I'll hit her up sometime this week. Just let her know that you gave me a number and I'm excited to take her out. If you guys vouch for her and she's a great girl, she's not going to be like Kim Basinger's character in that movie Blind Date with Bruce Willis. If you guys ever saw that, I think it was in the 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. And so if you guys haven't seen it, it's a pretty funny fucking movie. So the premise is Bruce Willis gets set up with Kim Basinger's character. And they say, whatever you do, you cannot let her drink, but she's a great girl. And of course she drinks. And the whole movie is there's just crazy shit that happens when she drinks. And so it's a fun movie.
Do you guys want to read that super chat earlier? I think it's a pretty good question.
Which one?
Right
Well,
yeah.
Coach Alpha in trouble here. I now avoid one-on-one situations with a few of my friends, women, because they have tried to hit on me. It disgusts me. I don't want to lose my friends. Any other tips? Any tips?
Yes, welcome to my world, dude. It really does suck when you got people that you love, that you've known your whole life, and everybody's hanging out in a group, and especially knowing the things that I know and subtle communication, and some dude's wife comes over and starts hitting on you or bumping into you or sits next to you and her knee starts touching yours and she's leaning against you. When that happens, I act like I'm just dumb, clueless Rube and I don't know what's happening. I might get up and go somewhere else, but I don't encourage the behavior. I just act like I don't understand what it means and I just completely ignore it. So that's the best way to go about it, because especially if it's somebody that's a lifelong friend and you're like, hey dude, your wife's fucking hitting on me, or I think your wife would sleep with me if I was willing to do it. Now you're just throwing a grenade in there. He's going to go confront her. She's going to get upset. It's going to cause problems between the two of them. And then now she's not going to like you. And now your relationship with your buddy is going to suffer. So in that case, it's operational security. Gentlemen, don't kiss and tell. That's really what part of what that means as well. So if women hit on you or communicate interest, just kind of play dumb. If they become extra aggressive, say, honey, I love you, but you're Bob's wife, and as much as I love you guys, bros before hoes. So I'm flattered, but I just will not. I'm not going to partake. You're amazing, you're desirable, but I'm not going to do that. Because there are other times that these women might be just testing you to see if you'll hit on them. And then if you try to advance it, they may blow you up. And now it looks like you hit on your buddy's wife, and then now he's going to want to punch you in the mouth. So I've just found, and what I do is I just act like I don't even notice. And
Not
if
that one time in the book.
Which one?
Remember the girl who came to like the jacuzzi?
Oh,
Well,
that wasn't his.
that wasn't a friend of a friend. That was just a girl who had a boyfriend, and she married that guy, and they're still together.
The one that was rubbing your feet too.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, because at the time she wasn't sure if she was going to stay with him, because he was kind of a beta male. He was older, he was more successful, but they lived happily ever after. But again, if it's one of your friends, it's just best to act stupid, like you don't know what's going on. And if she gets a little too aggressive, then just excuse yourself and go to the bathroom, or go talk to somebody else, or go get a drink, or just go interact with other people and kind of avoid her. And just act like you're dumb and you don't know what's happening. Because usually what I've found is that's as far as those women will go, is bumping into you and touching you and kind of following you around and those kinds of things. As long as you basically act like you're totally uninterested and totally clueless that she's into you, they'll kind of get the hint and they'll leave you alone. At least during that night, they'll leave you
alone. JB, hey Corey, I made plans on line dating and she canceled on me. Now she's texting me again.
Well, did she cancel? If she cancels on you but offers to reschedule, then you should have rescheduled. But if she just canceled at the last minute and her tone was flat and she's just blowing you off, again, Doc Love was like, that's it forever. But if you want to entertain it, then she has to bring up getting together. I would never bring up going out on a date again, because again, she dicked you down. So the only way you're going to give her another chance is she has to bring up going out on a date with you, or getting together, or doing something together in person.
Joe Petty, Corey, what do you do if you're tired of sleeping with your girlfriend after a year?
Do you love her? Do you want to be with her? Or do you not want to be with her? Because, I mean, the reality is, when you've been with a woman long enough, you're typically, if it's a healthy relationship, you're going to be laying the pipe at least 2 or 3 times a week. And in a long-term relationship, you're going to get to the point where you don't really need it that much, and you don't want it that much, but your girl's going to be a little frisky. And if she wants to get it on, I've always just found it best to give her the meat missile and beat up her pelvis. It's one of your chores. So you got to beat up her pelvis, give her lots of happy endings and happy finishes. Because if you're fucking your girl's brains out and she's happy, she's typically going to be very loyal and faithful and only have eyes for you. If you start neglecting her and then only wanting to have sex every 2 weeks when you need a release, she's going to pick up on that, and then she's going to stop having sex with you. And things are going to spiral into a bad place.
Guy Willis asks, scared to talk to girls due to past trauma / depressed.
Well, you need to do more of it. You got to practice your small talk. Maybe you can, once this live stream is over, you can replay the beginning, because I went on a long diatribe with a guy that was similar. I think it was the guy that was he's in college, and he's basically sitting in his dorm room jerking off the porn all the time.
This is the same guy.
It's the same guy?
It's the same guy.
All right, bro, I already answered your question.
No, he's asking, like,
go replay the chat. I'm not going to answer the same question 10 different times. So what that tells, that's like the paralysis of analysis. You're just looking for excuses to do nothing. So you got to participate in your own rescue. Nobody's coming to save you, dude. You have to do that yourself. And you're going to die eventually. What are you okay going to your grave having never experienced? Do you really want to spend all your college years jerking off to porn? Or would you like to be eating at the all-you-can-eat pussy buffet like Chunky did? Chunky even stretched out his college an extra year so he could partake completely, so he could get his fill. As the late great Steve McQueen said, he said, "You only go around once in life, and I'm going to grab a handful of it. So go out and grab a handful of life." And with certain ladies, you can grab them by the pussy.
Last question. Corey, how fast should a guy make a move on a girl, usually if she's showing high interest? I'm sure there's a thing as waiting too long, which would probably make her lose interest.
If you hesitate, you will masturbate. If she's ready to be kissed, ready to be touched, ready to be seduced, I've had dates with girls that I met and they come over and we start making out, and then 10, 15 minutes later we're in the bed. It can happen. So it's a case by case basis. That's not always going to be the case, but if you learn the book, then you know when to move forward and then when to back off. So it's when the signs are there, take her. When the signs are not, slow your roll and take your time. A delay is not a denial is just simply a delay. It's not an outright that's the end. A lot of guys are trying to seduce a girl and they're going a little too fast, and the girl says, "Oh, slow down, we're going a little too fast." It doesn't mean a delay is the outright denial. It just means you're going too fast, so slow it down a little bit. That's detailed in the book, in the 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
All right.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by for another live stream. So next week we have a Thursday live stream that Ask Me Anything. We'll talk about politics and current events. We talk about Trump or whatever. Obviously, we'll do a lot of dating and relationship stuff. And so that live stream will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time zone as Miami and New York on Thursday. And Fridays next week will also be at 1 p.m. So until next week, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.